could knock that guy out, then it's a draw.
They also haven't used the rule yet.
So you go knockout for knockout.
Boy, that rule looks like it's written by lawyers, doesn't it? Doesn't that rule look written by lawyers? So find out what's happening, because I think they were going to announce something today about Lamont Roach, Gervonta Davis decision.
Of my sport that I've been in for 50 years, I hate what people do to it. I hate it. I don't hide that.
You ain't gonna win. I say, why not? What you talking about? He like, they ain't gonna give it to you. I say, oh, is that right?
Joe Rogan has called out potential fight fixing in the Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach bout. He took issue with the odd rule that gives a knocked-out fighter 2 minutes to recover and try to knock out another competitor, resulting in a tie. Rogan hinted at possible rigging by saying the regulation appeared to be lawful manipulation.
Roach, Gervonta Davis decision on the knockdown. It was a very good fight, though. Lamont Roach is very good. I was really impressed because Tank is nasty. Tank is so powerful. Yeah. He's so vicious. Like his one-punch power at 135 is like nobody else's in the division.
Similar to the Gervonta Lamont versus Davis Roach himself, alluded to boxing corruption in the 11th or 12th round, giving the impression that his bout had been rigged. Davis told him bluntly that they would not grant it to him.
Oh my God, Gervonta just lost his perfect record. His fight with Lamont Roach was scored as a majority draw. Roach threw more punches and landed more punches on Gervonta. Just look at the numbers. And was this a knockdown? Roach after the fight wasn't satisfied, and he said if that was scored as a knockdown, he would have won the fight tonight. Gervonta after the fight said that some grease from his hair just got in his eyes and he couldn't see well. Crowd started booing Tank, his own crowd. We all know boxing fans. They love you one day, they hate you one day. That's exactly what Tank said. What do you think really happened? Was that because Lamont is really that guy, or is it because Tank really needs to take time to himself, retire, go back to school as he mentioned? I don't know, but you go ahead and comment. Let's talk about it.
Implying that the judges had already made up their minds, Roach acknowledged that this is how boxing operates, particularly when up against a great like Davis. Roach was dismayed after first thinking he had won by split decision when the final scores were revealed. The brutal reality of fixed outcomes in the sport is reflected in his response.
He won the fight, but when the fight was over, before the judges, before the scorecards came up on in the ring, were you worried at all that maybe you wouldn't get the nod?
Y'all know something funny? When we was talking in like the 12th round, I think the 12th or 11th, we was talking shit, right? But he like, you ain't gonna win. I said, shit, why not? What you talking about? He like, they ain't gonna give it to you. I said, oh, is that right? So, that's how boxing work. It's sad to say, that's how boxing work. I'm not like totally upset. I figured with a superstar, you won't get too much on paper. But shit, I damn sure thought I had it. Especially when they announced the score for him. I was like, oh, they gonna give me a split decision win. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, oh shit, here it go. But as soon as I heard that 114, I was just like, damn, all right, it's over.
His response to the controversy surrounding the bout between Devin Davis and Lamont Roach Jr., veteran referee Jack Rice emphasized how flexible boxing rules can be. Emphasized that the referee has absolute power inside the ring and is given full discretion over calls like stoppages and knockdowns.
Against Formoso Hernandez, when he lands the punch and turns his back and takes a knee, he gets counted. You think of Miguel Cotto against Antonio Margarito, where it was under duress and he just took that knee. And of course, my compadre right here, Chris Algieri against Ruslan Provodnikov as well. It wasn't a particular shot. You feel something, you feel discomfort, you take a knee. All those times, there's a count, dude. And I'll tell you what, Steve Willis also knew there was a count because he started counting and then stopped.
Yeah, we'll get to it. There's more than one pillar of this defense for Lamont Roach Jr., but the first one's a knockdown, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, we have a ton of experts on the panel today. I'm going to speak from a fighter standpoint, just like you did, Champ. And you can argue whether that right hand landed clean or if it landed hard or how hard those jabs were. It doesn't matter. Champ, when you mentioned when I took that knee against Ruslan Provodnikov, I actually didn't get hit. I was still recovering from the last knockdown where my orbital was damaged. My eye was damaged. My vision was impaired. I gave ground so I would keep my opponent off me, and I still couldn't see. So I took a knee, understanding very well that as soon as I took that knee, I was going to get a count. Yeah. And I had 8 to 9 seconds to get up, and I had more time to get my vision back, which it did, thank God.
And Mayweather didn't get hit either. He threw the punch.
Yeah, he actually landed left on Hermoso, Hernandez.
So, this is standard procedure here, guys.
Yeah, and we got to see. The question I have to ask, I got to start with Jack Reese. Is there something we are, as fans, aren't seeing about this knockdown that changes it? Because me, as a fan, I saw a knockdown in round number 9. What's your thought?
Well, when I agreed to come on, I'm regulated by an ethics agreement that I signed, so I don't want to come on and criticize or actually defend his actions or anybody's actions. What I would like to do is just lay out what the rules and regulations say and the court of public opinion, and you guys can make your own decision on what you think happened based upon what the rules and regulations are. And let me just say this. There's a difference between rules and regulations. Regulations are very strict. They're written into statute, into law. That's the operating system. And then the rules are very flexible, and they help you actually do the details that work within that.
The New York State Athletic Commission, NYAC, recognized a review mistake that impacted the 9th round. Knockdown ruling after the controversial draw between Davis and Roach Jr. Despite Roach's team's objections, the NYAC upheld the majority draw ruling, acknowledging the disagreement and guaranteeing that an inquiry was underway. Discussions over boxing's legitimacy have been triggered by the circumstances surrounding the fight between Davis and R. Roach. There are worries that these problems might weaken public confidence in the sport. It is believed that boxing's image and future depend on continuing to operate in an open and equitable manner.
New York State Athletic Commission is reviewing the controversial whatever. They said they blame on the production team. The blame is on the production team. The knee, all that. They say the New York State Athletic Commission says they are reviewing the controversial no knockdown call in the March 1st matchup between Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach. Right? They deem technical issues, right? Involving Gervonta Davis taking a knee in the 9th round, blah, 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 blah. A technical issue. So apparently they had AOL dial-up at the Barclays Centers.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
I mean, this story gets crazier and crazier by the minute. And I remember when it transpired and we were talking about it.
Yep.
And nobody was bringing up the fact, and I think if we were the only people that actually brought up the fact that they actually reviewed it. They actually reviewed it after the round.
Yeah.
And stated that it wasn't a knockdown.
Yeah.
So it started. And maybe there was some misinformation, but that's what it was said. That's what they were told. That's what the commentators were told. That
said that neither boxer disregarded the referee's rulings during the bout and that there was not enough evidence to reverse the outcome. The boxing community has responded to this resolution in a variety of ways. The outcome of the duel has important ramifications for both. Careers for fighters. Roach may face scrutiny and a rematch as a result of the issue, but Davis's performance has raised his reputation and created chances for high-profile bouts. The boxing community will be intently monitoring both boxers' future movements.
So breaking news, the New York State Athletic Commission has upheld Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach as a draw. Now, this is what I expected. I mean, commissions very rarely change the results of fights, unless, of course, someone tests positive for a PED. But in this case, the commission had a very poor explanation. They did admit that referee Steve Willis missed the knockdown of Tank in round 9, but it's the sequence of events after that for me that should have guaranteed the knockdown. As soon as Tank took the knee, the referee started the count. 1, 2, 3... And then as soon as Tank came back, Steve Willis stopped the count. Secondly, when Tank went to his corner, he got his face wiped off by a towel, which is illegal in the middle of a round. I mean, even Canelo said it, that's merit for a disqualification. So I don't know how the commission can admit a knockdown should have been ruled, display a sequence of errors, and then say, oh, well, the referee didn't rule a knockdown in real time, so we'll uphold the result. It seems kind of odd, but I do get it. I mean, there would have been outrage if the commission overturned the result. But what I want to see now is the WBA enforce a rematch. Lamont Roach deserves a second opportunity. I'm sure the fans would want to see it as well. And that's the right thing to do for the integrity of the...
Rogan has openly questioned the decision's validity, stating that he did not consider the draw to be a fair outcome.
We know the answers.
Yeah.
I think we know the answers. I think we know the answers, unfortunately.
But we need the rematch, and we'll get it. But I touched on last night during the live stream, it's the great Angelo Dundee with Ali when he couldn't see and he was blinded. He didn't say go out there and call a timeout, take a knee. Go and run, move until you can see. And just to be able to go out there and call a timeout, you know, it's like being in the schoolyard. Oh, do over. Unbelievable. This has to be addressed. This can't just continue. This referee must be sat down and reprimanded. And hopefully we get some answers and we get the rematch.
We won't. I'm sorry. I'm terrible. I am, but I'm ashamed of myself. I am so cynical. But this sport has made me cynical. I'm sorry. I don't see anyone's going to reprimand this referee. I don't. What are they going to do? I mean, it happens too often. It's happened too often. I don't know. We need a national commission. That's the only thing I can think of, but we're not getting one right now. But the last thing I want to say to put a bow on this one, Bud, we talked about the controversial part, but I want to finish with the great part. That was high-level boxing. That was two guys at the highest level showing their skill.
He has also forcefully aired his opinion over the controversial draw between Lamont Roach Jr. and Gervonta Davis, emphasizing the need for a rematch. Rogan emphasized that when questionable choices go unchallenged, boxing's legitimacy is under jeopardy.
I love my sport that I've been in for 50 years. I hate what people do to it. I hate it. I don't hide that. I love the fighters. I admire the fighters. I try to defend the fighters the best I can. But that was appreciated by me. To see, you know, I appreciate Floyd Mayweather. I appreciate Sugar Ray Leonard. I appreciate, you know, all those great fighters. Muhammad Ali, that, you know, Willie Pep, who I got a picture of, Will of the Wisp.
A rematch, which would ensure that both competitors receive a conclusive conclusion, is the best way to put a stop to the debate, according to Rogan.
All right, man. Listen, it's been a couple of days since that Lamont Roach versus Gervonta Tank Davis fight. And look, you fooled me once, okay? I'm going to let y'all get that. Y'all got that. But come on, man. This was a money fight, clearly, and also clearly Tank lost. I mean, there's no mistaken identity that Roach landed more punches, Tank had a higher percentage, but when we look at the punches and the punching power, it was Lamont Roach 8 rounds to 4. And then if you take in consideration that Tank took that knee, which count as a knockdown, the ref even started counting. I mean, there's nothing even to debate here. If they were tied without them even counting that, if you supposed to have counted that part, he would have actually lost the fight. It's a win for Lamont Roach. Get your bag. Go out there and say you the only person that tied with Tank Davis. But, man, if y'all fight, y'all better fight for real. Because this, be real, man.
Rogan believes that Davis cannot simply leave the field after such a poor performance without providing the fans with the satisfaction they are due.
Everybody saw it. You can't get around what everybody saw. Look, it wasn't a legit knockdown like he hurt Tank. Tank did have some in his eyes, but what are you doing putting in your hair when you have a world title fight? That's crazy.
And no one want to hear about it in the middle of a fight. That no one cares. If a fly by, drop the ball, bro.
Right.
Drop the damn ball. We don't care if a fly flew by your helmet or your eyes.
Yeah, nobody gives a fuck about that.
You can't be a championship fighter and taking a knee and putting on those type of performances.
Also, what are they putting in his hair? That when he's sweating it is dripping into his eyes. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
Bro, shave your head.
Weird, right? Yeah, exactly.
Shave your head. Who cares?
Like, don't be pretty boy. You better go get this fight.
Get those braids out of there. You don't need them.
Rematch between Davis and Roach is necessary, according to renowned boxing commentator Teddy Atlas. He thinks that outstanding concerns from their last fight warrant another fight.
Gervonta doing this shows that it wasn't an outside strange occurrence, that it may just be a part of his DNA. For him to get hit in amateurs and then take a step back and take a knee when he obviously wasn't hurt, it just shows to me that instead of gritting it out, all right, and possibly get knocked out or taking those chances, he'd rather take a knee to disrupt the momentum and then start over. That's how I'm taking it. It can be a great strategy, or it can be the bully complex. That when you meet somebody and they're not fearing you, or they're not retreating or backing away from you, and they're showing poise and the ability to withstand your output and give some back, like any bully.
But he is still doubtful that it would happen because the referee's judgments are not held accountable.
I made a video yesterday talking about how I agree with the New York State Athletic Commission for not overturning the draw. And I get their point when they were saying, you know, you don't know exactly how the fight would have played out if Gervonta, if it was ruled a knockdown real time. All right, Gervonta would have definitely changed his approach, and so would Lamont Roach. So you can't really say that everything would have remained the same. So you can't overturn it. And I just want to use this as an example because somebody added me on X. I'm sorry if I forgot your name, but they were like, yo, please bring this up when Bud Crawford versus when he knocked out Sean Porter. Yeah, the same thing. Terrence Crawford and Sean Porter was pretty much even that fight. I remember when I called that fight, I had it 5-4 going into the 10th for Bud Crawford. Yeah. So that's 5-4 Crawford. Well, Crawford was told by someone on the side that he was down.
Without the knee, you have it 7-5 Tank winning it. How does Tank feel after the loss? I mean, the draw.
I mean,
it seemed like he took it. He seemed like he took it well when he had the mic.
I went to the press with after press with Tank. I mean, I didn't. We didn't discuss it. You know, I ain't talked to him yet. You know.
Okay. Looking at all the fighters talk about the knee, does that surprise you?
Well, you got haters with everything he do. You know, you just got Tank haters. But you know, fighters been taking knees through the history of boxing. You know, so people want to talk.
So you believe that this was an honest mistake when it came down to Tank taking that knee, or do you feel like this is something that happens in boxing?
It wasn't illegal, so I ain't gonna say it was a mistake.
That's why I asked you that exact way. Like, do you feel like it was a mistake, or do you feel like no, this is a veteran move? This is stuff that happens in boxing.
It happens in boxing. It happens in boxing. You know, it wasn't illegal.